Hello, I'm going to show you how the sequential serial number works. The first thing you'll get a new program 8900. You'll install that into your controller. This will replace the 8900 that's already there. It just gives you the option to do the serial number. So if we come into our program here, um, so in your program 2000 or whatever you made your program from program 8000, all this information will stay the same. Um, Unless you do this as a separate engraving, you can add it to a line or you can make it the third engraving. We're going to go over here to our second program, which is based off our program 8001. Here I have it called 2001. We'll go into here. What I'm going to do is I'm just adding this to this first engraving. So the line you'll add is be this one. It's the same as all these other ones except for it has a D designation here, and I'm using 899. So 899 is going to be the macro variable where it's going to store the serial number and increment it each time it's being used. And you can see how I got a padding of 3 on here. So it'll always be a 3-digit number, regardless. We can make this 4 or 5, whatever you want to make it. The one thing I do want to do just to speed this up is I'm going to get rid of this second engraving. Well, we'll just leave this. The one thing I noticed with the grafting on here, it doesn't like to mess with that macro number. So if we come in here and we take a look at our macro 899 right now, we can see it's a 0. So if I come over to my program and we go into auto mode and we go start and we let this run, we'll see here in our macro number that we're already at a 1. So now that that's ran through and did all the macro numbers, we can just stop this. Now we can come into our graphs, our simulator, our toolpath, and we can push our start. We'll hit rewind, clear our display. I forgot to hit rewind. We'll start. So you can see our serial number is right here. Like I said, the grafting here doesn't really change macro numbers. So now all we got to do is come back over to our program. Edit, hit reset. We'll cycle start this. We'll see that our macro, we've incremented up to a 2. And right now it's doing all the characters. Let's go ahead and hit reset here. Reset this back to the beginning. Go to auto. Let's go to graphs. Simulate. Toolpath. Start. You can see now we're here on serial number 2. What we'll do is pull up our back plotter now. And we'll pull up our macro variables. We'll come change this back to 0. We'll just go ahead and run this. You can see it automatically defaults to 1, even though it was a 0 there. It automatically starts on 1. You can see it's ready for the second serial number. So if we run that again, see we're at 2, and it'll just keep incrementing up. Um, here, so there's 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It'll just keep going. So with this serial number, we do have a few optional inputs that you can use with this, and you'll get this with the program. So for the sequential serial number, it tells you here, delete your master copy of program 8900, install the new updated 8900, add the following line to any of the engraving subsections to create the serial number, and that's just this D899. So D is mandatory. It tells us it's going to do a serial number. And the number behind there is a macro number where we're going to store it. So this could be any number. One of the things you can do with this here is if you see this, I have an example right there. If you have a job set up in the machine, you're doing serial numbers on there, we can designate the serial number to be at 899. Say in 2 weeks, you pull that job out of the machine and set up another job. You can designate the serial number to be 898 for the next job. And then when you reset back up on the other job, you can put it, it'll still be here, with the 899 in your program, and it'll just continue the serial number from where you left off. Some of the optional inputs we can put in here is going to be E for the padding, which you know how it works. We can do letters or numbers with this engraving. So we can do 1, 2, 3 to 10, or we can do A, B, C. It'll just keep adding as it goes up. Without this added in here, it defaults to 0, which is a number. So unless you're going to do a letter, you don't have to put an F in there. The H is going to be how it increments. If you wanted to, you could do by 2s or by 3s. H is a default of 1 right now, so without this being placed in your program, it'll do a normal increment of 1. But if for some reason you wanted to do a different increment of 2, say go by 2, you could put H2 in there, or H3, whatever you want to do. You can also add a dash or a pound or any other special character before the serial number. I'm using a K value. K1 will give you a dash. K2 will give you a pound symbol. Anything after that, if you put on the character code sheet that you have under C, you can put any of those character codes in here, and it will do that symbol. M here, this optional input will set a maximum serial number. So if you only wanted this to do serial numbers, say up to 200, you could put M200 there. And it'll only count up to 200, and then it will reset back to 1. Or with this R input, it will reset back to whatever value you have if you have R there. So if you had R4, when this reached 200, then it would start back over at 4. This is what I got for the serial numbers. Got any questions? Let me know.